I'm Tim Malloy with the Civic Association. It is Tuesday, May the 19th. The town of Palm Beach slowly, incrementally, carefully creeping back toward a normal. Lots of rules we still follow. Social distancing absolutely demanded. Masks encouraged. Curfew in effect. Beaches closed. That will change, but not yet. And there's reason for that. There are new concerns today, and we're sorry to have to tell you this, but there have been a surge in a number of cases in Palm Beach. And Maggie Zeidman, council head, former nurse in New York, has more on that for us. Maggie.
Good afternoon. Good to see you all again. I hope it's good to see me too. So listen, I want to talk to everybody today, and I asked, it was a special request from me to Mary Robeson and the Civic Association that I would have an opportunity to talk to you again. And I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about the chaos that's going on with the 5 different guidelines. I want to talk about the numbers that are going up. Buckle your seatbelts, that's going to happen. And the third thing I want to talk about is the mandate to quarantine if you come from the tri-state area. And you know what? I think that will cover it for today. We can do something else at another time. So let's talk about the guidelines. There are 5 different guidelines. You have the White House Coronavirus Task Force. We have the state guidelines. We have the county guidelines. We have the CDC guidelines. And we have Palm Beach, town of Palm Beach guidelines and emergency orders, which Kirk Bluen and Jay Boudeschois and the team there, Carolyn Stone, put out on a daily basis. So let's talk about what that does. It creates a lot of confusion. Which one do you follow? What are you supposed to do? What are you not supposed to do? Dr. Fauci says stay home, basically. And here you have politicians who are to protect you, opening things up and heading in that direction. 2 different approaches. It seems like 2 disparate directions. And I want to just clear that up for you. So the guidelines that I think are important, Dr. Alonso, Department of Health, Director of Department of Health, thinks are important, are to monitor the symptoms, chief complaint, as they come into the emergency room, and that's monitored on a weekly basis. And it has gone from 600 on March 23rd down to just below 200 now. And what are they looking at? Shortness of breath, cough, fever. So those were the very first symptoms that were identified for COVID-19 illness. So why does one group say open up, go out, do this, and the doctors are saying be cautious? Well, because we have to be cautious. The virus is still here. The dynamics of the virus have not changed. It is here, and it's waiting for you, and it's waiting for me to be its host. So practical advice would dictate that if you have vulnerabilities, if you're in that group, you can be a very healthy 65-year-old, but you also might be not healthy 65-year-old. So if you have, once again, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, if you're immunosuppressed from chemotherapy or an immunosuppressive illness, then you're in a vulnerable group and you need to be careful. But there are other people that are not vulnerable, and they can go. So there's caution. That's what Dr. Fauci and that's what Dr. Alonso are saying. Use your head. Be sensible about this. You know what to do. So just because things are opening up doesn't mean that everybody goes. So now that we've cleared that up, and I hope that helps you a little bit, you have to figure that risk out for yourselves. And you certainly can talk to your doctor about it. I think that's a good place to start. And talk to your families too. Have a family plan. Okay, number 2, numbers. Let's talk about numbers. Numbers have gone up recently for Palm Beach County, and they've also gone up for us in the town of Palm Beach. We went from 16 to 18 to 19 to 21 to 25, now 27. Why? We're doing a lot more testing, and if you increase testing, you're going to increase the number of, that you will see more positives. So you'll see more people who have the coronavirus. So, you know, as I said, buckle your seatbelts, because the more testing we do, which we want to do more testing, you're going to see more positives. You're also going to see a lot more negatives too. So that's the positivity rate. That's for another That's for another camera event to talk about that. But we're doing much better in testing. We had one site, we now have up to 7 at some points and in the county, and so we're doing so much better. And the idea is test, separate negatives from the positives, quarantine the positives, isolate the positives, I should say, find out who they have been with, isolate them, and that's how you bring the disease numbers down. And then the third thing that I want to talk about is, you probably saw something in the New York Times this morning. I saw it yesterday, or maybe it was Sunday. Everybody's flocking to South Florida from the tri-state area. There is a mandate in place that you must quarantine for 14 days if you come from the tri-state area, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York. You must quarantine. It is a second-degree misdemeanor if people do not quarantine. So that being said, I hope that this has given you a little practical advice about what to do. Assess yourself, look at your risk, and figure out, we're going to be in this for a year. So figure out what you can and you cannot do, and remember, wash your hands, wear a mask, please wear a mask if you're inside, and wipe off surfaces, disinfect surfaces. You know the routine, social distancing. Do those things. Please do those things. So be well, don't get sick, and I'll see you another time. And thank you, Palm Beach Civic Association, for this little time I had with everybody. Thank you very much.
And as head of the council, Maggie Zeidman has stern words for people coming from off island to the island, and a word of warning. Here's Wendy Rutledge with that and more.
That's right, Tim. Now, the council did address other issues, non-COVID related issues, such as sea turtles and park redesign that we're going to get to in a minute. First, though, we want to take you back to President Zeidman and the warning she gave to people coming onto Palm Beach Island from out-of-state COVID hotspots.
It's come to my attention that there are reports, mostly this was page 6 in the Post, that there are reports that some are taking up residence here from New York City, Boston, and that may be. But what I want to remind everyone of is that there is a mandate from the governor that if you come from an area of high incidence, there is a mandate to quarantine for 14 days. Quarantine yourself and your family.
That said, it was back to non-COVID matters like sea turtles, and a welcome piece of good news from Diane Bueller with Friends of Palm Beach.
Good news, the turtles are nesting. Even on the newly laid sand from the Midtown project, we have quite a few turtle nests out there.
Now that the Marina project is underway, the town is turning its attention to the adjacent Lake Drive Park. Residents living nearby have been very vocal about wanting to maintain its peaceful setting, a sentiment echoed by Town Councilwoman Bobby Lindsay.
It's a very bucolic, beautiful area, and we want to make sure that when we upgrade this, that we retain that peacefulness.
To that end, the town council voted to hire a consultant to advise on park design issues going forward. The public is invited to provide input as well. The town of Palm Beach will hold a virtual Lake Park Drive community meeting this Wednesday, May 20th at 10 a.m. You can participate by registering for the meeting on the town website. For the Palm Beach Civic Association, I'm Wendy Rutledge reporting.
Now our Save the Produce initiative, which has been a phenomenal success, a Civic Association conceived, and then the community responding in tremendous ways. It's winding down now. The clock is ticking on crops that would be plowed over, crops now being saved and then given to people who are hungry. So we have just a few more days to contribute. Great thanks to TKM Farms, the Basor family, who have done extraordinary work on this, and all the people who have been donors, many of them anonymous. So that is something we're going to be talking about through the remainder of the week as we push forward to try to raise as much money as we can for this win-win. So crops are now plowed over, so people are fed who otherwise would not get good food. Hurricane season, really close, 10 or so days away. We're preparing a half-hour program on this that hopefully will be very helpful to all of you in town and elsewhere. That is coming up in the coming days as well. So that's an abbreviated newscast. We always cut in with more information as it comes. We wish you well, and we'll see you soon.